Your truck is brand new. You are making payments on it, and it just stranded you on the side of the highway, not because the engine failed, not because you skipped maintenance, but because a $40 sensor decided your diesel exhaust fluid did not smell right. That's not a horror story. That's Tuesday for thousands of diesel owners across this country. And here's the part that really stings. While you are waiting on a tow and arguing with a service advisor about a 2-week back order, somewhere out there is a 1994 Cummins with 400,000 miles on it, no emissions equipment, no electronic control unit throwing codes, no dealer required, just turning over and pulling load like it has something to prove. That contrast right there is why people are obsessed with pre-emissions diesels. That is why mechanics talk about them in hushed, almost reverent tones. And that is exactly what we are breaking down today, factually, legally, and practically. No conspiracy, no drama, just the real picture. Let us start with the hardware, because before you can understand the attraction to older engines, you need to understand what is genuinely failing on the new stuff and why it is so expensive when it does. The DPF, the diesel particulate filter, traps soot from your exhaust. Over time, it fills up and needs to burn that soot off through a process called regeneration. When regenerations work, great. When they do not complete, because you are doing short trips, idling in traffic, or hauling in conditions the system was not calibrated for, the filter clogs. A clogged DPF can mean a forced regeneration, reduced power, and in serious cases, a replacement filter that runs anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 installed. This is one of the most common complaints from owner-operators and fleet managers alike. The DEF system and selective catalytic reduction diesel exhaust fluid, urea mixed with deionized water, gets injected into your exhaust stream to break down nitrogen oxides before they leave the tailpipe. The selective catalytic reduction system that uses it is genuinely effective at reducing those emissions. The problem is the supporting infrastructure around it: sensors, injectors, dosing pumps, and quality monitors. Any one of those components failing can trigger a derate, a programmed reduction in engine power designed to force you toward a repair shop. In late March 2026, the EPA issued updated guidance, removing the requirement for DEF urea quality sensors as a mandatory derate trigger. The intent was to reduce unnecessary downtime caused by sensor malfunctions while keeping the actual emissions controls, the SCR catalyst and fluid injection, in place and functioning. That's a meaningful change for owner-operators who have been stranded by a sensor reading a false negative on perfectly good fluid. But to be clear, it does not eliminate derates across the board, and it does not change the underlying emissions compliance requirements for your vehicle. The exhaust gas recirculation system, often abbreviated EGR, routes a portion of your exhaust back into the intake to lower combustion temperatures and reduce NOx. The cooler that manages this process is a known failure point on several popular platforms. When it cracks or clogs, you can end up with coolant in places coolant should never be, and engine damage that turns a manageable repair into a 5-figure bill fast. The NOx sensor. Small sensor, enormous consequences. A failing NOx sensor on many modern platforms will trigger the same derate cascade as an actual emissions failure, even if your emissions system is working perfectly. Replacement is straightforward when parts are available, but that caveat is doing a lot of work in that sentence. Supply chain delays on emissions-related components have left trucks parked for weeks over a component that costs less than $200. Before we move on, a quick word here. You have probably heard of EGR deletes and DPF deletes. There is a massive aftermarket for this hardware. We are not going to pretend those products do not exist. But federally, removing or disabling emissions equipment on a vehicle that operates on public roads is illegal under the Clean Air Act. Violations carry real fines for shops and for owners. We will address legal options later in this video. For now, just know the frustration driving people toward those products is real, even if the legal path through them is not. Now we get to the engine that keeps coming up in every diesel forum, every shop conversation, every what would you build if money was not the issue thread. Pre-emissions, mechanical diesels, primarily built before 1994, when federal emissions standards began tightening significantly on highway diesel engines, operate on fundamentally different principles. There is no diesel exhaust fluid tank, no diesel particulate filter, no selective catalytic reduction system, and no exhaust gas recirculation. Fuel delivery is handled mechanically, not electronically. In many configurations, the injection pump can be serviced with hand tools by someone who understands diesel fundamentals, with no proprietary scan tool required, no dealer authorization needed, and no software unlock. Hand tools and simple procedures are often all that is required. A well-maintained mechanical diesel from this era can be diagnosed with your eyes, your ears, and basic pressure testing. Parts are often still available, frequently cheaper, and not subject to the same supply chain volatility as modern emissions components. That is a genuine advantage in a working truck context. The simplicity also means heat management is different. You are not fighting a diesel particulate filter that needs a regeneration cycle every 300 miles of city driving. You are not managing exhaust gas recirculation cooler temperatures. The engine does its job, the exhaust goes out the pipe, and the truck moves. But here's the honest trade-off, and this matters. Older mechanical diesel engines emit more particulate matter and more nitrogen oxides than modern emissions-equipped engines. That is not opinion, it is why the standards changed in the first place. Running one every day in an urban area produces a different emissions footprint than a modern truck. Noise levels are higher, and fuel economy in modern traffic is generally worse. Cold start behavior in northern winters requires more management. These are real costs, not technicalities. Fitment is not simple. Dropping a pre-emissions engine into a newer chassis involves electrical integration, transmission compatibility, cooling system redesign, and, depending on your state, a registration and inspection process that may not have a clear path to compliance. Some states have no mechanism to register a vehicle with a significantly older engine. Others do, but they require detailed documentation. This is not a weekend project with a guaranteed outcome. Here is the high-level legal reality, because this is where a lot of YouTube content gets vague in ways that cost people money and vehicles. Under the Clean Air Act, it is illegal to remove, defeat, or render inoperative any emissions control device on a vehicle that will be operated on public roads. This applies to the vehicle owner and to any shop that performs the work. The EPA enforces this, and fines can reach tens of thousands of dollars per violation. Engine swaps are not automatically illegal, but they are regulated. Federal law generally requires that a replacement engine meet the same or stricter emission standards as the original engine in the vehicle. Swapping in an older engine that does not meet those standards creates a compliance problem, regardless of how the swap is documented. State law adds another layer. California has some of the strictest swap rules in the country, with bar-approved swap lists and referee inspection stations. Many other states defer to federal standards, but require the replacement engine to match or exceed the original. A handful of states have more flexible vintage vehicle provisions, but these vary widely and often apply only to vehicles above a certain age threshold. The bottom line, if a shop tells you they can make any engine swap street legal with no documentation and no inspection, that shop is not giving you accurate information. Ask for the specific state compliance pathway before you spend $1. If your current situation is frustrating and you are looking for real options, here is where to focus your energy. Maintenance is your first and best investment. The majority of catastrophic DPF and EGR failures begin with neglected oil changes, ignored coolant maintenance, and extended idle cycles the system was not designed to handle. A truck that gets proper intervals, quality fluids, and attentive monitoring will outlast one that does not by a significant margin. Platform matters more than most people realize. Not all modern diesels are equally problematic. Research the specific failure rates for the engine you are considering before you buy. Some platforms have known EGR cooler issues that have been addressed in updated parts. Some DPF systems are more forgiving than others. Owner forums and fleet maintenance records are better research tools than manufacturer brochures. Ask the right questions at any shop. Before authorizing emissions-related repairs, ask whether a sensor replacement is being done as a verified diagnosis or as a guess. Ask whether the part being replaced is original equipment manufacturer or aftermarket. Ask about the warranty on the repair. A good diesel shop will answer all three without hesitation. If you genuinely want a pre-emissions platform for off-road, farm, or stationary use, those applications exist outside highway emissions requirements in many jurisdictions. That is a legitimate and legal space where older mechanical engines make a lot of sense. Know your application and know your local rules. The reason pre-emissions diesels command the attention they do is not nostalgia. They represent a version of mechanical ownership that many people feel is being taken away: the ability to understand, diagnose, and repair your own equipment without a dealer, a subscription, or a proprietary tool. That frustration is valid. The right to repair conversation in the diesel and agricultural equipment space is one of the most important conversations happening in the trades right now, and it deserves to be taken seriously. But the answer is not to chase illegal modifications or to bet your livelihood on a swap that might not make it through your state's inspection. The answer is to get informed, make smart platform choices, maintain what you have with discipline, and push for policy changes that give owners more access to their own systems. Know your truck. Know your rights. Stop letting a $40 sensor run your business. If this gave you a clearer picture of what is actually going on under the hood, legally and mechanically, drop a comment with the platform you are running and what you are dealing with. We read every one. Subscribe if you want more content that skips the noise and gets to what actually matters for diesel owners.